Hello everyone and welcome back to Timeless Affairs. A furious woman confronted a security guard at the mall due to the closure of the Dippin' Dots kiosk. I was meandering through the bustling corridors of the mall, contemplating my next activity. Having just left the arcade, where I had dedicated several hours to surpassing my high score on the Shiba machine, I felt a sense of accomplishment, albeit accompanied by a slight hunger. As I strolled past the food court, the enticing aroma of something sweet caught my attention. I followed the scent to a small kiosk that offered Dippin' Dots, the beloved frozen ice cream treats. Eager for a sweet indulgence, I approached the kiosk, only to find it closed, with a sign stating, "Sorry, we're out of Dippin' Dots today." I sighed and began to walk away when I suddenly heard shouting. Turning around, I noticed a woman in her mid-40s, sporting a blonde bob haircut and an expression of fury, vocally confronting the nearby security guard about the kiosk's closure. "You can't do this to me," she shouted. "I need my Dippin' Dots. Fix." The security guard tried to explain that they had run out of ice cream, but the woman wasn't having it. She started to get more and more agitated, her face turning bright red. "I demand to see the mall manager," she screeched. "This is unacceptable." The security guard tried to calm her down, but it was no use. She was completely unreasonable and nothing, he said, seemed to make a difference. I could feel the tension building in the air and I knew something bad was about to happen. And then it did, but a sudden swift movement. The woman slapped the security guard across the face. I could hear the smack of flesh against flesh, and I winced in sympathy. The guard stumbled back, looking shocked and angry, while the woman stood there, panting and red face. "What the hell is wrong with you?" the guard shouted. "You can't just go around hitting people. I want my Dippin' Dots," the woman screeched. "You can't deny me my frozen treat." At this point, a crowd had started to gather around the kiosk. People were whispering and murmuring, their eyes glued to the unfolding drama. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and I knew I had to get out of there before things got even crazier. I turned to leave, but that's when I saw something even more bizarre. The woman's husband had arrived on the scene, and he was even more unreasonable than she was. He was shouting and pointing his finger at the security guard, accusing him of all sorts of things. "You're not doing your job," he bellowed. "This is outrageous. I demand that you open the kiosk right now." A security guard tried to explain that there was no more ice cream, but the husband wouldn't listen. He kept shouting and waving his arms, his face turning bright red. It was clear that he was just as unreasonable as his wife. I decided that it was time to make my escape. I turned and walked away, my heart still pounding in my chest. As I made my way through the mall, I couldn't help but wonder what had just happened. Enraged Karen slapped security guard at the mall because Dippin' Dots was closed. It was a crazy story, but unfortunately it was all too real. What would you have done if you had watched this play out? Let us know your thoughts. In the comments entitled, "Karen demands that I give her the PS5 and my shopping cart screams that I took it from them." It was a crisp December morning, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. I had just finished a tough semester of college, and I was looking forward to some much-needed downtime over the holidays. I decided to treat myself to a grocery run, and I figured I'd swing by the electronics section of the store to see if they had any PS5s in stock. As I turned the corner towards the electronics section, my heart started racing. There in the display case was a single PS5. I couldn't believe my luck. I had been trying to get my hands on one for weeks, but they were always sold out or being resold at outrageous prices online. But here it was just sitting there waiting for me to take it home. I quickly grabbed the PS5 and put it in my shopping cart, feeling a sense of relief and excitement wash over me. As I made my way to the checkout, I noticed a woman staring at me. At first I didn't think anything of it, but as I got closer she started to get more agitated. She had that classic Karen haircut and was wearing a designer outfit, so I knew trouble was brewing. "Excuse me," she said, her voice dripping with entitlement. "I believe you have something that belongs to me." I looked down at my shopping cart, confused. "What are you talking about?" "My son has been waiting for that PS5 for weeks," she said, her eyes blazing with anger. "He took it from us, now give it to me." I tried to explain that I had gotten there first, and that it was the last one, but she wouldn't listen. She kept screaming and saying that I had taken it from them. I could feel everyone's eyes on us and it was getting pretty embarrassing. "I'm sorry, man," I said, trying to defuse the situation, "but I got here first. I'm sure there will be more PS5s in stock soon." "I don't care about that," she snapped. I want that PS5 and I want it now. Give it to me. I could feel my blood pressure rising. This woman was clearly unhinged, and I didn't want to engage with her any further. I turned around and started to push my shopping cart towards the checkout, hoping she would get the hint and leave me alone. But she didn't. She followed me screaming and yelling at the top of her lungs. Help, help. This man stole my son's PS5. By this point a crowd had gathered around us, and security had been called. They arrived on the scene quickly and tried to intervene, but the woman wouldn't back down. He took it from us, she wailed, he stole it. You have to believe me. The security guards looked at me. Then back at her, Ma, I am. Can you explain what happened? He took the last PS5 from us. She cried, my son has been waiting for it for weeks, and now this man comes in and takes it from us. It's not fair, the security guards turned to me. Sir, is that true? Could you take the last PS5 from this woman? I took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. No, that's not true. I got here first and I put the PS5 in my shopping cart, fair and square. She's just upset that she didn't get it. The woman started to sputter and stammer, trying to come up with more lies to justify her behavior. But the security guards weren't having it. They took her aside and asked to see her receipt and ID to confirm her story. Meanwhile, I continued to check out my groceries, feeling the weight of the whole situation. After a few minutes they came back and stopped me before I could make my purchase. Then they escorted all of us into a waiting room where they made us wait until they could watch the surveillance tapes. The lady kept saying things like, now you're going to get it, they will see the truth soon enough. What was she thinking they were going to find on those tapes? A few minutes later the security guards came out and confirmed that I was right. This threw the lady into a complete meltdown. She started crying and then begging me for the PS5. It was just awful and horrifying. How could someone be so emotionally tied to buying a PS5 that it made the Mac? This way I walked back out to the checkout lane and began to scan my items. As I swiped my card to pay for my purchases, I could still hear the woman's voice echoing through the store, crying, shouting, and causing a scene. It was getting pretty stressful, but I tried to remind myself that I had done nothing wrong. I had gotten to the store early, found the last PS5 and bought it fair and square. That woman had no right to demand it from you to cause such a disturbance. Eventually the security guards returned and escorted the woman out of the store. I breathed a sigh of relief, but I knew that the whole ordeal had left a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't like the idea that someone could just come up to me and demand that I give them something I had bought legally and honestly. Lovers, why do you think of this one? Please let us know in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Timeless Affair.